This is the video I wish I had, or more so that I wish I could have convinced myself to watch back when I was in high school. Because I know 100% I would have just been rolling my eyes and being like, "Rip to you, Sarah, future Sarah, but I'm different." You know, exactly like that meme? Yeah, that would have been me. While I know that 100% I would not have listened to this, I really just hope that you give this video a chance and watch it with a completely open mind. I'm going to be referring a lot to medicine, but everything that I'm saying and all of the takeaways can be applied to any field of study or work. I also asked a ton of medical students the exact same questions to see if I could bring any more different perspectives to you. And between all of our different answers, the overarching theme was, please be more flexible. Except for one friend's tragic response, which I think I'm going to take her out to lunch, to be honest. Now, as a full disclaimer, I don't regret medicine. I don't regret going in. I love what I do. But the truth is that I regret so much about my attitudes regarding medicine before I got in, and, you know, even now when I'm still in medicine. Here are the main timestamps of the things that I wish I could have beat into myself and that we're going to talk about today. First of all, not getting in is not the end of the world. You're not above or below any degree. It's not offensive when people are trying to change your mind. You need to have a life outside of medicine and you need to allow yourself to be happy. Before I got into medicine, I genuinely thought that I could not do anything else if it wasn't medicine. I was so convinced it was my calling that I refused to consider any other options or even have backup options. I was beyond crushed when I didn't get in. For months and even years, I was so depressed about it, and the actual saddest part is that it was kind of completely my own fault because I tied my self-worth into it. There was this overwhelming feeling of shame because it was all that I talked about ever since I knew what a doctor was. I told everyone around me that I was going to be a doctor, and to be honest, sometimes I acted like a cocky shit because of it. So not getting in absolutely devastated me and made me feel just so ashamed. I'm not going to go into the full story about how I got into medicine today because it actually took over half a decade and started with me leaving a job in the Facebook offices in Dublin. But just know that that initial blow, devastated me. Like it absolutely killed me. I beyond reason hated myself, and I can't take back all of the self-talk that crushed my self-esteem for years. It's been almost a decade since I've left high school, and I feel like my sense of self-worth is only recovering now. So please, if you are watching this, don't do this to yourself. It's only years later now, having gained all of the experience I did working in different fields, that I can say with 100% confidence that I'm actually kind of glad I didn't get in on my first try. Compared to when I was younger, I feel like I'm able to network a lot better. I have a lot better project management skills. My attitudes towards things are a lot more mature. I really think that I have an unfair advantage studying medicine, having all the life experience that I do. I mean, I really think that there's a world of difference in empathetically communicating with a patient and understanding them at different ages. And there's just a certain element of life that can't be taught to you in the sheltered environment of a medical school. It's been almost a decade since I left high school, and that's how long it's taken me to finally see that not getting in wasn't the end of the world, and I would actually even argue that it was the better choice for me in the end. It might even be the better option for you as well. Carmen Medic recently did a podcast episode with another medtuber called Faye Bates, both whom we stan.
I'll always say the best thing that happened to me was that I went to Canada and I did that undergraduate degree. It was a life-changing experience, and like I grew so much as a person. I matured so much as a person that I simply would not have if I just went straight to medical school here in the UK.
I'm going to link that podcast episode in the description in case you want to go check it out. Save yourself a lot of time and a lot of trouble, and really tell yourself that it's okay if you don't get in on your first try. There are backup options and alternative routes that might even actually end up being better, I promise. Let's move on to you're not above or below any other degree. The thing is, I actually got into different courses such as nursing and science, but I refused to take them because I thought that if it wasn't medicine, clearly it was not going to be worth it for me. However, now, as funny as this sounds, while I don't regret going into medicine, especially taking the route I did with a variety of work experience, I do actually kind of regret not doing another degree first, especially nursing. I for some reason convinced myself that if I had taken any other degree, that it would have been somehow a waste of time, or that I was giving up on being a doctor or what I actually wanted. Or maybe even worse, that maybe I wasn't good enough to get into medicine. It would be like admitting that. I thought that maybe people would judge me saying things like, "Oh, you see, she said she wanted being a doctor all this time and now she's just insert profession here instead. But I think that this was absolutely ridiculous. I feel a little bit cringe about myself for thinking that, because I would never think that about a friend. So I don't know why I thought that people around me would think that about me. The biggest annoyance about it now, though, is that there is such a thing as graduate medicine. And I was kind of vaguely aware of it, but I think I just thought it was going to be this waste of time, or it was going to take too long, and medicine is already long. And I don't know if that was my reasoning, but I really, really regret it now. I could have done a completely different degree, whether it was going to be related to medicine or not, and explored other passions and interests, and seen if I could have taken to anything else. Because again, I was on such a one-track mind for medicine that I didn't consider anything else. And it's only now that I'm discovering that I have so much love for other subjects and so much passion for other topics that I'm not saying it would have changed my mind from doing medicine, or I wouldn't have ended up doing medicine, but it would have been maybe so nice to go and discover these interests and then ended up in medicine anyway. And now I have met so many medical students that have done a different degree before getting in, and the level of maturity and confidence between them compared to the people who are freshly entering is like worlds apart. For example, students who have done nursing before are at such an advantage because they are so familiar with, studying a huge amount of topics with anatomy and physiology, with procedures and techniques in the hospital, how the hospital functions, what are the dynamics between all of the different themes. They are so confident in these things that while the fresh medical students are like faffing about, not knowing what's going on, being lost or not understanding, the students who have done other things before are confident and they're able to take on more responsibilities. They're not lost. They're not overwhelmed by by the amount of information we get in lectures. They have an amazing foundation and they're able to live a very, very balanced work lifestyle, like a work health, what is it called? They have such a strong foundation that they're not wasting time trying to find their footing. They're shadowing more, they're going to more events, they're not buried in lecture notes and studying and overwhelmed. I'm not saying that the people fresh out of high school are incapable. I'm just saying it's not the disadvantage that I thought it was going to be before I went in. But advantages aside, this is a message that someone wrote to me about their regrets. Being too narrow-sighted and not having fully evaluated other career options that have ultimately left me wondering, what if over the years? I love medicine, but can't help feeling unsure of my decision sometimes, given I sort of just dove at it. I don't know, I just think it could be an advantage. I mean, for me now, I think all these years later, I tried all of these different work experiences and I still had in the back of my mind, oh, what if I was a doctor though? What if I was a medical student? And that to me indicates that maybe it was actually my calling. So whenever things get really, really difficult, I don't really consider dropping out, or I don't really reconsider my decision, because I tried other things and I'm very confident that I still wanted medicine. I mean, sometimes though, like every time I do a new subject, I'm like, oh, I should have just done a degree in this subject, it's so cool. But I just have a problem with falling in love with every new subject that we do. So that's kind of a different issue. But my point is that while some medical students are wondering if they made the right choice because they never considered anything else, I am really confident in my choice because I tried other things. Not degrees, which I do wish I tried a different degree, but it's still okay. If you do get into another degree, just go and try it. Don't reject it. Learn how to study, learn how to make friends and socialize. Enjoy your university experience. Give yourself a chance to try new things and passions, and you might enjoy it. And if you don't enjoy it, one, you can always just try again to get into medicine later. 2, you can always go through the graduate entry. And 3, I don't remember what my third point was, but a lot of good can come out of it. 80% of the medical students I asked actually said something along these lines. I summarized it. Okay. They did actually question their choice of going for medicine, and while they don't technically regret it, they have a lot of overwhelming uncertainties. I'm afraid it doesn't make you unique to think that you would be different. This isn't a test of your will or your determination to go into something. Which brings me to the next point, that it's not offensive when people are trying to change your mind, or they think you will change your mind. I used to think that people were being pitiful when they told me to try different options, especially when I didn't get in. I really wish that I could have understood this, that people aren't implying that you're weak-willed or you're not good enough to eventually get in if they're trying to convince you to do other things. You should approach things from a growth mindset and be more adaptable and flexible, kind of like bamboo. Even when grown-ass doctors told me that I should change my my mind, or there were other things that I should consider, I would just be like, rip to you, doc, but I'm different. I thought that they were being dismissive of the things that I wanted to do, but now trying to give the same advice to other students, I understand that it's not that they were trying to be insensitive or dismissive or to kind of like challenge my willingness to accomplish this. I think they were just going about it in a really bad way to express that they had some regrets that they were holding on to, and they wished they had allowed themselves to be more adaptable and more flexible earlier on in their careers. It also doesn't necessarily need to be with going into medicine, but also what specialty you're going to go into after you graduate. When people told me that I would change my mind from plastic surgery, I would get so offended about it, and now I just realized that I was going about it in such a wrong way, and if I had just been more open-minded at the start, I wouldn't have had such like problems coming to terms with the fact that I kind of want to try research. I wouldn't be having this like medlife crisis, if you so will. I really thought that going into research after graduating was kind of like what nerds would do, or weak, or like, why would you consider going into research? And I thought it was so lame. And you know, then I was having such a conflict of like what would you call it, like a personal crisis about going into research. And I was being an idiot, because the truth is I could just try research for a year or two by doing a PhD to see if I like it, because if I don't like it, then I can still go into a different specialty. I don't know why, like, I was on such a one-track mind that no, it was going to be plastic surgery or nothing. I don't know why I was such an extreme person. And it took me months of struggling, coming to terms with the fact that, and you know, also tons of professors telling me that I might actually be good at this. I should try it out. I should just go and do a PhD for a year or two and see if research suits me and the lifestyle that I want to create. And if I don't like it, I can just go into a specialty anyway. It doesn't change anything in the grand scheme of things. By having an adaptable mindset, I can just try different things and explore different things and create new things. I don't know, I say things a lot. In the grand scheme of things, taking a few extra years to do something in a career that generally lasts over 50 years, it's so minuscule, it's not even worth considering as a waste. You're not weaker or any less of a doctor or any less of a student if you're more adaptable to your outcomes, if you change your mind, or if you change what you want to do. It just makes you a more flexible person, and that's always good. A growth mindset is always, always, always a good thing. I, for the longest time, when I got into medicine and before I got into medicine, didn't allow myself to have any other interests or hobbies to pursue. I mean, I always wanted to start a YouTube channel and the website to help students, but I never really thought about having different hobbies or interests. Yes, you should work hard and try your best, but that doesn't mean sitting in front of a book for 15 hours a day. You can seriously just learn how to study so much more efficiently and do the same amount of quality study in like only 4 or 5 hours, and use the other 10 hours of the day to pour yourself into different projects and passions and interests that you might want to pursue. You can use the rest of your time to build a really, really balanced life with cooking and socializing and working out and learning new skills. Of course, there are times that it is necessary to study over 12 hours a day, and I'm going to make a video on this, but the truth is that if you're studying 12 hours all the time, every day, you are not studying well. I was so bought into the idea that all you can do is eat, sleep, and study and nothing else. I glorified it so much that I actually didn't allow myself to pursue any other different interests. Whenever I was socializing or trying to have a more balanced lifestyle with relaxing, in the back of my mind I was just constantly like, I should be studying, and I felt all of this guilt. But the truth is that guilt is the most useless emotion there is. I'm not saying everyone feels like this, maybe it's a personal thing, but I think if even one other person is feeling like this, that this is an important message to give. I don't know why we idealize these versions of ourselves where we're doing nothing but studying and it's all like #goals, #motivation. I'm going to do a video essay on burnout, and it's going to have a lot of hard-hitting statistics regarding resident mistakes and medical student mistakes and physician suicide. And like, why are we glorifying studying in the least efficient methods possible? Why are we perpetuating these stereotypes of toxic productivity instead of encouraging efficient and balanced studying so that you have time to work on side projects and things you feel passionate and good about? I started study streaming all the way back in June before everyone was doing it to, get popular or whatever. It was the best decision that I have ever made in my life. I have gotten so much into photography, and now I get to capture moments with my friends that I can cherish forever. I really kind of just enjoy being crap at it and trying to learn and try to get better. I've found that I love creating content, and I could actually do this for the rest of my life. It's just so versatile, and there's so many different mediums and so many different things to learn and so many different things to create, whether it's the website or the podcast or I don't even know, this YouTube channel. I now have a dream of building this like medical tool, and it's going to take years, but I'm so happy to just take my time and do it and create it. I got to make connections and network with the most incredible people and build communities that is made up by you guys. And it all led me to this idea of I want to be more than just a doctor. There is more than one way to help people, and you can actually help yourself help other people. I wish I had just allowed myself to pursue these hobbies before now, because while I feel happy that I did medicine, I actually feel fulfilled and content making content for you guys. And now I just want to share that happiness with everyone. Both Elizabeth Phillips and Eliab Dahl talk about being more than just a doctor in a lot of different relevant videos.
You don't need to lead a linear life, and no career decision that I make is likely to be permanent. I can very likely have whatever I want. It might not look like what I dreamed it to be, but it definitely can happen. So it kind of also reminds me to keep my eyes open, because passions are there. It's not just the passions that I randomly had as a child, but I might pick them up across my life too.
I'll also link the relative time-stamped parts I'm talking about in the description. But what they're saying is really, really true, that there is more to life than just studying, just being a doctor, just doing things for the sake of doing them, and having a variety of passions and projects is the best way to go. And almost every single medical student I asked said the exact same thing, that they regret not making more time for other things outside of medicine. Honestly, medicine or university doesn't require as much time as people stereotype that it does. Yes, it's a hard degree and there is a lot thrown at you, but you don't have to be that soulless, lifeless, over-glorified meme. You can have a life and you can do a lot of different things that you will end up enjoying if you allow yourself. And while the best time to plant a tree was 30 years ago, the second best time is now, and I'm really happy that I started pursuing hobbies now. If you have any interests or passions or anything you want to try out and need help with, just hit me up on DM or join the Discord or come to the study stream. I'm happy to talk to you about it. I've helped so many people start up their study streams and their YouTube channels and even websites. Please just reach out to me. I'm so happy to share this and to bring you along in this journey with me. We can go on it together. So the main idea is that it's really not the end of the world if you don't get in, and it might be even better. Go try other degrees or try to explore different passions and get different experiences, because you never know how good it's going to be. If you want to come argue this with me or tell me that I'm wrong, you can drop by anytime you want by the study stream, where we work in blocks together, and then on breaks we hang out and talk and, sometimes play games. Alternatively, you can DM me or, you can watch other videos that I've made. Up to you. See you in the next one.